Heidi-ho neighbors, Rado Goji here, and welcome to Squeeze the World Toys. And as you can see, we have all of our friends lined up on the table here because this is what, from what I understand, the final entry in the Kamen Rider X8 Level Up Rider series. We have, here it is, entry number 18, Kamen Rider X8 Maximum Gamer and Muteki Gamer set. This is basically based off of the penultimate and ultimate forms of X8. I'm just kind of weirded out that we're not getting any other riders or anything like that in the in this series, at least as far as I know. I've only ever seen them talk about like up to 18, and that's it. I'm surprised we've gotten this far with it. Honestly, 18 I think is the most number of entries I've seen in any particular gimmick figure line for Kamen Rider. And we've even got all the past entries on the back, which are all displayed here, even though they're not all super visible. Like the Hunter Gamer is behind Laser there, and I think that X8R, not X8R, X8L and Paradox are kind of hidden behind them. Oh no, I can kind of see Paradox, but they're not the stars here. They're just kind of here for, I guess, a symbolic thing. So anyway, you haven't got the stuff on the bottom there. So yes, this is the set of the two ultimate forms for X8, as I take them out of the packaging here. And first off, we have the Maximum Body, I think is what they call it on here. Yes, or Maximum Armor Body. Maximum Gamer Body. The Maximum Gamer. This is in-universe based off of a quote-unquote game called Maximum Mighty X. Is kind of like supposed to be the ultimate form for the ultimate. I wouldn't say the ultimate version of Mighty Action X, but it was one of those gadgets that was specifically made for X8 to transform and fight the bad guys. And he does have a level 99 attached to him, but much like the in figure form, much like the level 1 and level X armor shells, this is very much a hollow shell here. You can even see a little head in the back. But the difference between those and this is that you do have this little head that can flip up. Because basically the only real difference between the Maximum Gamer and having X8 in there is that his head pops up. Now the head is basically meant to be up when there's a figure in here. But in all honesty, I usually just keep him posed this way, or displayed this way, because even if he doesn't have a figure there, it's still like a complete representation of what Maximum X8, as I call him, looks like. There is limited articulation, much like the other shells. You can move the arms like up and down, but they're kind of like on pins, or not pins, but pegs and holes. I'll actually show off putting a figure into there later. But it looks really cool, can still hold weapons and whatnot, and I think that's a step up from the other armor shells that we've seen so far, is that you can actually display it as a character on its own. So that's a cool thing. And of course, the other main feature here is the ultimate form for X8, the Muteki Gamer. The Muteki Gamer is based off of, again, quote-unquote game called Hyper Muteki, which is was made by one of the characters. I don't want to go too much into spoilers here. I mean, we've already got enough spoilers here going on, but in any case, the main gimmick of the quote-unquote game is that the main character is invincible, because they had to have some sort of counter for Kamen Rider Kronos, who has the ability to stop time and stuff, and Muteki X8 is immune to that. But the figure has all the standard articulation that we've come to expect from the series. You've got the double-jointed knees, you've got the same sort of arm articulation and whatnot. I think like the only thing, like he's very, you know, this you can see it's very gold. He's got some vacuumized chrome plastic on his arms and stuff. These can actually come off. And he does have this like dreadlocks thing going on. I understand why they put that there. It's mainly because his motif is supposed to be that of like a shooting star, and these are supposed to be like the, you know, the trails behind him. But still, I don't really care for that. I mean, it's a lot more organized on the figure than it could have been. Like you have like two big bigger groups of 3 and then 2 groups of 2, and then like the 2 just kind of coming up the front. But I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me. It doesn't really go well with it, I guess. But still, it has all the same articulation and features that I guess you would expect. Now, much like Perfect Knockout Paradox back there, it is very... actually, let me zoom in a little bit on our guys here, because I am a little... Sorry about that. He is very incompatible with a lot of stuff. I'm not going to, waste anybody's time by bringing everything in here, but the only kind of connection ports he has are the ones on his legs, which kind of have these little accent pieces in the way. You've actually got a couple on the arms. You can actually take these gauntlets off, and you can knock over the Fantasy Gamer back there. And there's holes in his arms. And he has the holes in the sides of his torso here, but that's it. Much like Perfect Knockout Paradox, he does not have these slots in his neck, so he can't equip any of the armors or anything like that. So the only real things he's compatible with, much like Perfect Knockout Paradox, are the robot arm from the Robot Gamer, the turntable from the Beat Gamer, the possibly... I was about to say the leg armor from the Hunter Gamer, but I don't even know if that'll fit on because of how the molding is on his legs. And the arm cannons from the Simulations Gamer. But, on the other hand, he does kind of have, quote-unquote, his own gimmick thing by being able to go into the Maximum Gamer here. And that does kind of pull in Perfect Knockout Paradox as well, because any figure, obviously with the exception of Laser, is going to be compatible with this. So every figure here has a link where they can be fully compatible with another thing, at least one other thing in the set, which kind of makes me happy. So basically putting a figure in here, let's just do Muteki because he's right here. That's how it's meant to be, because even in the show, it's kind of like how it works with the ultimate forms for Gaim, where he had the Kachidoki arms and it was all armored up. And then for his final form, he's in Kachidoki arms. He uses the Kiwami Lock Seed, hooks it into the Kachidoki Lock Seed, does his thing, and then bursts out of the armor into his ultimate form. Same sort of thing here. You've got the Maximum Mighty X Gashet. The Hyper Muteki Gashet actually clips onto that. He pops a button on the top. This part flips down, as you can see. There's like a thing that flips down on there. And then he just kind of bursts out of the Maximum Gamer. And the Maximum Gamer, I assume, can still do stuff, because even with the standard Maximum Xaid, he can come out of the Maximum body. The Maximum body can still, do his own thing, and then you have basically a standard Mighty Action X Xaid, going around doing stuff. I mean, he still has the better Gashet on him, but he can do whatever he needs to do. And in all of these forms, he can wield the Gashikon Key Slasher. And there's also some figures back there that are either leaning back way too much or getting knocked down, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. So let's get on with the combination feature, I guess you could say. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the gamer arms. These, like I said, are on pegs and holes. We're going to flip up the Xaid head. Then for Muteki Gamer at the very least, and this is in the instructions to use the Muteki Gamer, but you can use, like I said, you can use any figure that you have. We're just going to get my hands in the way and to just take the gauntlets off, and then the arms actually have pegs in here, and they can peg in to the arms and just make them straight and bulky and not bendable, but that's okay. It just sometimes can take because it's not a lot of light, and it's hard to see where the peg goes in, but once you can find it, it'll just go right in. It'll just go right in. Sorry. There we go. You also gotta, when you're doing Muteki, you just gotta make sure you're aware of the pauldrons, I guess you could say. I think that's what they're called. Come on. Come on. But yeah, it's just the tough part is just finding, you have to kind of feel where the peg lines up, because there's not really much clearance to look at it visually. Visual confirmation. There you go. So now he's got like big bruiser arms on him. So then we bring in the shell, and there's waist clips here, which will obviously go into the holes on the waist, and there's also holes down on the feet here that will go into, you know, because like most figures have holes in the bottoms of the feet. So you just got to kind of finagle this in. I like to go for the feet holes first, because they're usually the harder part to get lined up for me. So just kind of finding and pushing it down and hoping you don't break anything. That actually worked better than expected. And then kind of push it in until it clips in on the waist. And there you go. Whoops. That's not supposed to happen. That... Okay. Luckily it just goes back in, but the head came out of its spot on the thing. So just keep all the hair tucked back in, and now you have a version of Maximum X-Aid that can actually move his arms a little bit more, because it's on actual arm joints. Now the I guess the disadvantage to having Muteki X-Aid in there is that you can see some of the armor parts, you know, behind him, behind the head. But I've also put this together with by putting the standard X-Aid in there and actually keeping the head the head here down so that the regular head was facing up, and it looked pretty cool. But yeah, that's Maximum Gamer, and then you can kind of make him fly out of this suit here, and you know, obviously you can't really do like he does on the show, because he just kind of comes out and you don't have to you have to put the arms back in place. He didn't have to do that in the show, but I think it would be a cool thing to allow the you know, to allow at least the arms to be used like that. But then he'll just come out like, yeah, like a shooting star, as said before. But so yeah, that's a pretty nice thing, I think. Oh, I gotta put his gauntlets back on too. But yeah, overall, I would have again liked to have, you know, seen more compatibility with stuff, much like with Perfect Knockout Paradox. But all in all, again, it's a great figure, and it comes with a neat, you know, accessory companion thing with which to use. And overall, I guess since we're on a finale with the set at hand, I really liked collecting these. These are a lot of fun to play around with. I liked all of the gimmicks that they put in. I mean, there were some that I cared more about. Others, like, I liked putting the armor on the stuff more than I liked having the little level 1 shells or whatever. But yeah, it's a pretty good set. I guess, you know, pick and choose your favorites if you don't feel like you can afford all of these. A lot of these can be pretty expensive, especially since a lot of them are discontinued now. And such is life when it comes to, you know, collecting something from a Kamen Rider or Super Sentai series. They only do production for certain parts during the run, because each show only lasts a year and then goes on to the next one. But I liked it. I just wish there were... I mean, as much as we've seen here, and I know that I said this a lot during the last video, but I wish there were some better representation of some of the later characters. I wish there was a Laser Turbo figure. I think Laser Turbo is what Laser should have looked like, not just transforming into a bike. I think Laser Turbo is what Laser should have looked like in the first place. I wish there was a Kamen Rider Poppy figure. As often as Poppy doesn't change that much or in the show, she does have decent representation. And I'd like to, you know, I would have liked to have seen a figure for her. Kamen Rider Kronos, like I said, is currently the main bad guy. I know Game Deus is going to be like the final bad guy. I mean, from what I've seen, that's definitely building up to being a thing. But at the current moment, Kronos is the main antagonist, because it kind of just swaps around. But so I would have liked to see when you introduce more writers, you kind of want representation there. And I don't know if they're going to be doing any more Premium Bandai stuff. Like, again, so far they've only had one Premium Bandai figure, and that's been the fully articulated level 1 Xaid. And in all honesty, if in order to have the full collection, if that's the only Premium Bandai thing that they're doing, I may go for that. I'm not going to try to spend too much on it, because I've already seen listings over $100 for a figure that was, limited, yes, but it was only like, I don't know, 40... like 4,000 yen, maybe, when it was released. But still, I know that they were focusing a lot more on the Soto stage stuff, but, there's a lot of things a lot of missed opportunities here, and a lot of fodder that can be used for Premium Bandai. Like your Knight of Safari Brave, your Proto Snipe. I know that that's a thing. Your Legend Rider forms, your Legend game forms like Zevius and Pack Adventure and Galaxian, Famista, and like all those other characters like Poppy and Kronos and the guy who's coming up in the movie. I don't know, he might be a thing, because I know that when they started doing Premium Bandai with Gaim, a lot of the characters that weren't represented in the main line, like Sigurd, Malika, even popular characters like Bravo and Knuckle, were made into Premium Bandai figures. So who knows where it's going to go from here. But for right now, I have every single entry in the main set. So I'm happy with that for now. I may try to get a PB01 if I can. And if I do, I'll show it off. But if it turns out that there are going to be more Premium Bandai figures, I'll just kind of go for the ones that I want. And, leave it at that. But... yeah, I like this series a lot. I wish there was more they could have done with it, but I hope you enjoyed watching these videos as much as I did making them. This has been a lot of fun, and expect more stuff in the future. I know that I have a whole lot of stuff I can talk about in here already. I have a bunch of Transformers videos that I've been planning to do for months, but just haven't gotten around to doing. And then there's, of course, going to be future Q-Ranger robots. I don't know if those are going to be... I don't know if I'm going to be getting those anytime in the near future. I know that Gigantoo is on the charts, I think, for August. But I don't know if I'm going to be getting that right away, because I'm kind of not in a not a super tough spot with money, but kind of want to renew regain some footing, especially since I have a special thing that I've pre-ordered that I'm getting next week, a Dragon Quest XI Slime DualShock 4, which I'll also be showing off. I don't know, that's probably going to be under the gaming moniker, not the toys, but still it's going to be a nice show-off video nonetheless. So yeah, this is Level Up Rider 18, the Maximum Xaid Maximum Gamer and Muteki Gamer set. A lot of fun. Totally pick them up if you can, and pick up I mean, not necessarily the whole set, but, whatever ones are your favorites, I definitely recommend, getting what you can to do the gimmicks that you want. This was a lot of fun to collect and play around with and show off, and I don't know if I'm going to be getting any more Kamen Rider figures lines after this. This was just kind of a thing to, it was kind of kind of a release in that case. Like, I hadn't gotten something like this in a while, so I figure I may as well go ahead, and I had fun doing so. And that's pretty much all she wrote. So until next time, I've been Rado Goji, and I'll be here. Join me, won't you?